Good evening, hockey fans, and welcome back into the neutral zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Back after a week off, needed to do some R&R after a bit of touch-up work, but glad to be back with you, and we have got a lot to be talking about. We've got history that unfolded. We've got new teams at the top. We've got a youth movement taking charge in the NHL. We've got some old guard that are figuring out new ways to just disappoint us as hockey fans. We've got some college hockey to talk about. We're even going to get into the PWHL tonight as they have released their takeover tour for the 25-26 season. Lots to get into, lots to discuss, lots to debate, lots of things to have some fun with. Buckle it on in, strap it on down. This is the Neutral Zone. Let's go. And good evening and welcome on into the Neutral Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I am Adam Karnik. He is Freddie B. Freddie, how are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing great, Adam. I'm first of all, I'm glad you are doing well. I know you went under a little bit of a procedure last week, and that's why we weren't able to do our show, but I'm glad you're here with us this week. So much to talk about. We missed a whole week of incredible action and just so much more. I hope I could remember everything that I wrote down and noted the week before, but that's old news now. There's so much going on, but so glad we're back here talking hockey, Adam.
Absolutely. Yeah, I underwent a little the fancy talk for it is a balloon sinuplasty. Basically, I wanted to be able to breathe better and not bother everybody in the house by knocking all the siding down with my snoring.
Yeah.
But it meant, unfortunately, it meant taking a week off. Had we done the show, I would have been, I would have basically just fallen asleep partway through it. So it's a good thing we didn't do it.
Yes, sir.
We're here now. Let's dive on in. We have got so much to go through. And you may have noticed for regular viewers, first of all, thank you for making this part of your regular weekly viewing. We've got a little bit new background here for us. We're gonna temporarily clear the stage here just so that everybody can
I want to see this. Let's see what our producer Larry B has provided us. I want to see this.
Larry's got some new background for us, so we're going to clear the stage for just a moment. Not a terrible not a terrible facsimile there. I appreciate that there's a helmet on me, because otherwise it would just break the whole thing.
That's awesome. Larry, you did an awesome job. That looks great. Kind of have that Drew Doughty vibe, the number 8. You know what I'm feeling here with the beard and everything, and the little flow going on. So loving it, man. We're official. We're getting every week is just a new chapter we're unlocking here. I love it.
Oh, all kinds of new stuff, all sorts of some new toys and new fun that we got going on there. I'm not sure who Larry was going with 22 on there for me, but I will absolutely take it. I'm happy with it. We'll rock and roll. The colors are right. That's the important thing. The colors are correct in there. So that's the important thing. So.
Maybe he was trying to go with a Duncan Keith kind of effect, because your Blackhawk, Duncan Keith, was just elected into the Hockey Hall of Fame this past week. So big stuff there.
Indeed. And that was, that's one of the things that we're going to try to get into a little bit tonight with this is, yes, the latest class in the Hockey Hall of Fame, including one Duncan Keith. I do have more teeth than him, but otherwise that's the only area I've got on him. Otherwise he gets me everywhere. So the longtime Blackhawk, and then finishing out the last couple of years with the Edmonton Oilers. That was, I was really hoping he would get a cup with them, but it was what it was.
He killed us, and he was so tough to play against, being a Kings fan in those years when, the early 2010s, when they were going back and forth, LA and Chicago. And Duncan was he was a physical guy, but he was so good offensively too. And then him and then like Brent Seabrook back there were deadly combination. And not only did he do that with Chicago, but then when he goes to Edmonton and he kills us in the playoffs his last year of the season, I think he scored a big goal in Game 6. And I great player and all, but man, that name stings in the cranium here when I think about it.
He's one of those, you always wanted him on your team. You didn't want to go up against him. Absolutely. So we'll get into more with the Hall of Fame class as well a little bit later on with the show. But let's take a quick peek as we are now past 9 o'clock in the East, 6 o'clock out in the West. Let's take a look. Only 4 games on the docket in the NHL tonight, unless I totally miscounted, which I've been known to do from time to time. But no, four games going on in the NHL. The big one over on TNT HBO, the New York Rangers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. New York. The Rangers.
Start spreading the news.
Yeah.
We finally win at MSG.
They win in Madison Square Garden, and they're winning down in Tampa Bay tonight 5-3, despite getting outshot 22-16 to this point.
Wow.
Vincent Trocheck with the most recent goal very late in the second period. They still got 17 and a half minutes there to go in the third. Artemi Panarin, a couple of assists tonight for the Rangers.
Panarin is just he's really tearing it up. He's on pace for another 100-point season already.
He decided to lose the hair, and apparently that was the thing he needed to do. Elsewhere in the NHL tonight, down in Philadelphia, the Oilers and the Flyers are tied at 1 apiece with just under 3 minutes to go in the second, but Edmonton is absolutely dominating this game. Evan Bouchard, his third goal of the year. The Oilers outshooting the Flyers 24-9 to this point in the game. They've also won basically 3 out of 4 faceoffs. The only thing keeping the Flyers in this, a power play goal late in the second there by Michkov, his 4th goal of the season, and then just absolutely heroic play in net tonight by Dan
Vladar.
Dan Vladar, 23 saves already to this point. The ice has been tilted the entire game into the Philadelphia zone, but they're hanging on there. Vladar doing a great job. And meanwhile, they just got underway in Utah. The Sabres and the Mammoth, they are a minute and a half into that game. Still not even a shot on net yet in that game. So just underway there. And then going to be getting underway hopefully at some point while we're still on the air tonight, but very possibly right at the end of the show, the back half of the TNT HBO Max doubleheader, the New Jersey Devils at the Chicago Blackhawks.
Looking forward to that one.
I do not like a 9:30 Eastern time puck drop for the Blackhawks in Chicago. I do not like that, Sam. That is at least an hour too late. But that is a discussion.
That's a good main course, way to end the schedule of games tonight against a really good New Jersey team and a really promising and really good, start to the season for the Blackhawks. You got Connor Bedard, who's up there amongst the league leaders in points and fighting for that Team Canada spot. And then you got the Hughes brothers over in New Jersey who are just dominating right now. You got Jacob Markstrom, who's back and healthy. That is going to be a really fun, entertaining game. I expect both teams maybe upwards, 30 shots. And hopefully we see a lot of goals in that game too.
It's gonna be a good one. It's just, why is it so late? You've got, you've got Eastern time and Central time and the easternmost edge of Central time in there. Even that is a late.
That's the second game of TNT's doubleheader,
right?
So you got to get Bedard and the Hugheses on there in a prime time, even though it's the later half of the prime time network doubleheader, but. Yeah, that should be a really good game, Adam. You'll be able to go to bed watching that one.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen too. There I go. That's how it will be tonight. It'll be it should be Spencer Knight, or are they going to go with Crevier tonight in net? We will see on that for the Blackhawks, but Jacob Markstrom will be in net for the Devils in that one. So we'll let you know as that one, they drop the puck on that one tonight, but some great stuff overall. Well, let's start with current, because we talked about them a little bit already and they're winning tonight. So we may as well start there a little bit. The New York Rangers, they're currently leading right now against the Lightning 5-3, despite getting outshot. They are still winning in that game. Yeah. And they finally won at home.
Finally. They 6-pack of goals against Nashville the other night in getting that first win of the season after starting the season 0-7 with 5 of those losses being shutouts. Thank God they got to play against Nashville, who is one of the worst teams in the league. But what the Rangers have done on the opposite end on the road is incredible. 7-1-1 coming into tonight. They're less than a period away from going to 8-1-1. 17 out of a possible 19 points or 20 points on the road is fantastic. They can carry that over and play that style of hockey at home. They're right in the mix already, even with the poor home start. Their amazing road start has kept them in the middle of that Eastern Conference right there. So they can start putting things together. And I've seen Alex Lafreniere now with, I think, goals in back-to-back games, which is, something that Ranger fans were humming, hollering over, because he wasn't doing anything out there. And Vinny Trocheck back now too. Another element to that offense. The Rangers are scoring goals at a frantic pace right now with very little shot total too. The game the other night, I think they had 6 goals on only like 19 shots. And tonight, I think they have less than 20 shots as well, don't they?
They're at 17 shots right now. Tonight, they had just 18 shots in the game against the Nashville Predators.
Right.
The one thing that was kind of working in their favor a little bit with both the Rangers and the Predators, 50% on their power plays in that game. The Rangers a couple more penalties than the Rangers.
Well, they just put another one up at 6-3.
Back-to-back 6-goal games for the Rangers then. Wow. Well, when they were playing at home, you said it perfectly. Then not only were they losing, they were getting shut out. So to not only win at home, to to get 6 at home,
Yeah,
that had
huge.
it had to feel like, okay, the dam unloaded a little bit. That, the dam finally burst, and they can exhale now.
Yeah, and
the
you got to feel for those fans. New York's so crazy and dedicated and diehards when it comes to their hockey team, and now they have something to cheer about. They get 1 win under their belt at home. They go on a little streak here, and then next thing you know, you're going to hear everybody saying Rangers for the cup, but. I think that's a little too early to go that far out, but if they can continue doing what they do on the road at home, they're going to be just fine. And that kind of ties into like the LA Kings, who are the second best road team in the league and the second worst home team in the league with only 1 home win. Kings beating Montreal last night, going now 8-1-2, I think, on the road as well, or 7-1-2. Why can't they do it at home? They were the best home team in the league last year. I don't understand what's going on. It's like we're living, in Stranger Things times. I know that's coming up here in a couple of weeks with Thanksgiving, the first show coming out for the last season, but it seems like everything's in the upside down now. This year, for some reason, is flipped on its axis, and it's a great thing that what is going on in the league right now.
It is, we can talk about that for a second too, because the road records. Obviously, it's what's keeping the Rangers. You brought it up. It is absolutely what is keeping the Rangers alive in the Metro, as they currently sit in 6th in the Metro, coming into play tonight. But 7-1-1 on the road. The Kings 7-1-2 on the road. We're seeing some terrific road records right away early for some teams. Colorado 6-1-3, Dallas 5-1-2 on the road. The Ducks 6-3-1. We're going to talk about the Ducks a little bit here in just a minute. The San Jose Sharks 4-3 on the road. 4-3.
They love playing Minnesota overtime and shootouts. They beat them again last night. Man, talk about a really surprise team. I'd love to talk about them a little bit later on as well, after we talk about the Ducks, about the Pacific Division right now and the youth movement.
Absolutely. But the Hurricanes 6-3-0 on the road. So many teams being able to have success away from their home ice early. And then you've got other ones that are just upside down like that with the Rangers, where they can't buy a win at home.
The $1 million question is, why does this happen? How does this happen? How can a team be so dominant in road games? But like for the Kings, for example, the best home team last year, the best they've ever finished as a franchise home record as well. And they are struggling at home. You would think that would, the same momentum or whatever, would carry over. It's not lack of fan support, but the fans are a little bit disgruntled when you can't win and produce at home, of course. But what is it, do you think, Adam, that goes into the psyche maybe of the players, or, is it game day? I don't know.
The two things that come to me right away, first of all, when you're thinking about the differences, obviously you sometimes you put some pressure on yourself when you're at home that isn't necessarily there on the road. When you're on the road, sometimes you can be a little bit more loose and free when you're on the road, and when you're home, hey, we're supposed to win this. We've got to win this. You have that. When you're at home, you've got the last change too, but sometimes you can end up overthinking that as a coach and as a staff. Sometimes you can being at home can sometimes afford you to be a little too cute with what line you throw it against whom, but also it's still November. We're in the middle of November. Some of it also could just be good old fashioned rotten luck, where there's not necessarily anything you can do about it.
It's true. I just don't know how you can go be in the hottest team at home and now being the worst, but then you're one of the top two teams on the road. It just play that consistent style throughout, I think, is all that we're asking for, both Kings and Ranger fans. Just give us that same effort and result, both home and road. We're going to be at the top of the standings, definitely making a playoff push.
Well, and let's just, for example, let's go Kings for a minute here. Just look at some of the home games. All right,
yeah,
beat the Ducks in overtime. Then you have the Avalanche at home. Then,
well, the Ducks game was the last exhibition game of the year.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I'm sorry. Yep, you're right. Sorry,
yep.
I was looking at that wrong. I'm sorry. So you've got the Avalanche at home. You've got the Penguins, who they're on a bit of a resurgence. The Hurricanes, one of the top teams in the East at home. Yep. The Red Wings, again, one of the better teams out in the East that they've played at home. They've hosted the Devils. They've hosted the Panthers.
Yeah.
So you've got, it's not like they're losing to Calgary every single game at home.
No, but yeah, they probably have the hardest strength of schedule to start a season that I've ever seen, as far as playoff caliber teams and teams that had made the playoffs the prior year. The Kings, it always seemed to play up to the competition, and they play down to the lower competition. And when I didn't see as good of effort, the results kind of correlate with the effort that the team was showing out on the ice. Like the game against Florida, they were up to a 2-1 lead, thought that things were looking good, and then just sat back and let Florida take it to us. But yeah, they'll turn things around. They've got, keep this road trip going. They're 2-2 to start. They got a struggling Maple Leafs team, which is a perfect matchup tomorrow. So, they'll turn it around. The schedule will definitely fall in their favor with some easier opponents. But really, you can't say anybody's easy in the league this year, because everybody, top to bottom, throughout all 32 teams, minus maybe Calgary and Buffalo, can beat you on any given night.
Yeah. Absolutely. There's you don't get very many nights off. Absolutely. That's
not in this 2025 sure. NHL season. Definitely not.
No, you're definitely not getting nights off this year. Well, let's clean up some old news that this would have absolutely been how we let off the show a week ago, but we get to talk about it now tonight. Alexander Ovechkin, the Great Eight, the first ever player to hit 900 goals, did it a week ago tonight in what was arguably the least Alexander Ovechkin-like goal that will probably ever, it was so appropriate when he broke Gretzky's record a season ago, that it was on the power point from the left dot, on a one-time slap shot.
He's in his office. That's where he cooks.
It was as soon as they went on that power play, I remember just going, well, he's on the ice for this entire
time. He was like a machine. It was that pass to the point every time. It was just like a well-oiled machine. They had it going. Yep. Took him a little longer to get to that point this year. He only needed 3 goals to reach that milestone, but he's there, and crazy.
Instead this time around, it is cleaning up some very unusual change, bouncing off of the board behind the goalie, and bouncing off of equipment and off of a shin pad and a very fortunate goal. But let's face it,
not highlight reel worthy, but it will end up on the highlights because of the milestone.
Exactly. It's not as pretty a goal, but when you score 900 of the things, they can't all be highlight reel, ticker tape perfection.
I remember I was watching that game when he scored that goal against Phoenix, and he ends up falling on his back and flicking the stick behind his head into the net. And I already knew Ovi was going to be awesome, but when he's pulling off stuff like that, then I knew this guy was special. And incredible, 900 goals. I never thought anybody would ever beat Gretzky's record, and it's going to be hard for anybody to ever come up and reach this record as well. But 900, awesome job for Ovi. Definitely a top 10, I think, NHL player of all time. If I think he does crack the top 10 of all time.
Oh, absolutely. So I started doing this show. This is season 5 that I've been doing it. We had the conversation, my prior co-host Zach and I, we had the conversation in season 1, and the conversation it was at that time, it wasn't will he, it's simply when is he. When he was putting up 60 goals in a season, that to me was just like, okay, well, there it is. He, as long as he stays healthy, he's getting there. You
got to factor in, you lost a year, basically with the COVID season. And then, he had a couple stints where he was out of action, especially last year. He broke his foot,
He had a couple injuries he had to overcome. He was the COVID season, the 2012-2013 lockout where they lost half the year. They only played 42 games.
42 games.
They played in that season, which that was an incredible sprint of a season. But yeah, if that's a full season right there, 1,000, if just that right there, we could very easily be talking 1,000, because who knows how many more he would have had, he could have very easily.
I would have loved to. Yeah. You know what? But I'm glad I was able to see him in the prime of his career. It's just something that you and I, as hockey fans, have seen him from day one up till now. And he's still up there kicking. They had it was a great game the other day. I don't know if you saw it, but it was Washington and Pittsburgh, and Crosby Ovechkin. Those matchups never get old. That was a really good game. And I mean, what can you say about those guys? There's something special about them.
It's, they are vanguard at this point. And what makes it a little bit more special with it too, at this point, is we know that there's way more of these matchups behind than are ahead with these guys. And they obviously know that too. So when they meet up and they match up, they want to give it a little bit more extra, because, hey, this might be the, might be the last one.
It sucks too, because we're in an Olympic year, and, Russia is still not able to participate in Olympics. And I would have loved to have seen Crosby and Ovechkin, Canada, Russia, get a chance to play on the international level. They didn't even get to play, in the Four Nations. Russia has that ban, unfortunately, but man. And speaking of Crosby, he hit his 1400th point that week, as well as one of those milestones that happened last week. And him and the Penguins are still rolling. Evgeny Malkin up there amongst the league leaders in assists. And we're talking Crosby, and then you got guys like maybe the heir apparent to Crosby, as some are comparing, and that's Macklin Salabrini.
Yes. I was just getting ready to perfect transition. I was just getting ready to,
I was reading your mind
myself. There we go. That's what we should do, because we've got this wonderful youth movement going on through the NHL right now, where we've got the old guard still of Ovechkin, Crosby, some of those guys still playing at a high level, but the youth movement that is going through right now, Macklin Celebrini, Connor Bedard, Schaefer with the Islanders, just some incredible play from the teenagers, the teenagers in the league right now. It is incredible. Some of the individual stats that we've got going on right now.
You get to see Bedard on more of a regular basis. I know you watch a lot of the Hawks games. I've been trying to watch as many Sharks games, being here on West Coast and stuff like that. I watch every game I can every single night. And man, not only is Celebrini leading on the ice with his play, his vision, he sees things. He is very similar, in my opinion, to Crosby from what I'm seeing out there. And then lately he's bringing this he's wearing the S on his jersey, but it's not for San Jose or the Sharks. It's for Superman, because he's playing a full length of the ice game. He's playing in all zones, and he's taking the body. He's adding grit. He lost, chipped a tooth the other night. He was finally baptized into the NHL with that little injury there. So, I mean, I've seen everything with him. He's making Will Smith a superstar as well in San Jose. We didn't think anything out of the Sharks this year, and they're really one of the surprise teams, man. But these guys, it's for Bedard, this is his third year now, and for Celebrini, it's his second. These guys are taking the torch and they're running with it as the leaders of their franchises.
Yeah, and some of the guys in the individual scoring leaderboards right now. Of course, you got Nathan McKinnon at the top at the moment.
Course.
Sure, why not? He's one of the best skaters in the NHL. Outside of that, though, Leo Carlsson in Anaheim, he's 20 years old. Macklin Celebrini, same number of points as Carlson, 19 years old. 1 point behind those guys. Connor Bedard, 20 years old.
This is crazy how well these guys are doing, at such an early age, less than 20 years old, and they're up there amongst the league leaders already in statistics
and points. It is incredible. The youth movement we're seeing.
I know you brought up Leo Carlsson. He just became the youngest Ducks player in franchise history to record 100 points last night, beating Paul Kariya's record by a matter of weeks as far as the age goes. But this is just not Leo Carlsson down in Anaheim. Beckett Seneca, Cutter Gauthier, Troy Terry, Mason McTavish. They're getting it from everybody. All of their youth are playing, and it was almost a playoff type game last night. Big test for the Ducks going up into Colorado. And let's dive into that game a little bit, and then after that we will pause for a quick reset and restart a little bit here on the show. But who would have thought at the beginning of the season that we'd be in the month of November and the Anaheim Ducks and the Colorado Avalanche would be playing each other for the top spot in the NHL on the line? I could have seen Colorado in that spot. I would have believed had you told me, oh yeah, Colorado will be doing that. Okay, sure. I'll believe you with that. I'll roll with that. Yeah. But that the Ducks would be there. No,
Oh my goodness. And getting in there with gumption, coming in on a 7-game winning streak, coming into play last night, played in Colorado. Now it went the Avalanche's way. 4-1 was the final, and some big props and before we get into the Ducks, some big props and big ups to the Avalanche. Gabriel Landeskog in particular, his first regular season goal in 3 years.
1,437 days, I think it was. Just good for him. Incredible.
The surgery that he went through and the recovery. Was able to play in the postseason last year, but now into regular season play, gets that goal. I love there was a quote from him last night where he I want to pull it up and get it exactly correct here, because it was just it warmed my heart reading it as I pull it back up here as I'm bouncing around through my notes. And not only was it his goal, it proved to be the game winning goal too.
Yeah, it was the second goal. That was a tight game. First period was 1-1. And that goal he got there did prove to be the game winner. They ended up winning 4-1. And Colorado's a very good team, and we all know that. And they're doing all this. They're the top team in the league, and they still, statistically wise, are one of the worst power plays. They can't eat. Their power play is at a lower percentage than it should be, because I think they'll turn that around. They're just going to be dominating teams, scoring 4 or 5 goals a night. Ducks were the leading scoring team in the league, and the 2 weeks ago, Lukas Dostal, #1 star of the week. And then last week, Leo Carlson. So the Ducks are getting their players into league recognition for the top players of the week.
Coach Q has turned that around and is doing it well, doing it quickly.
Yeah.
The youth move, they're so young there in Anaheim.
Yeah.
They lost 4-1 last night, but the score does not reflect how close of a game that was.
No, not at all, because they were beating really good teams. They just went on the road and lost, and beat Dallas and Vegas in back-to-back road games before this one.
Yeah, they're playing good hockey, and you lost by 3, but if you watch the game, they were in the game.
They were in the game, absolutely.
They give up a power play. You give up an empty netter. Those things are going to happen. That's going to go that way from time to time in a hockey game. They belonged in that game. They were not blown out.
I don't think they're going to be going quietly. Maybe not going to be a division winner. I don't know if they can maintain this kind of pace that they play, scoring 6 or 7 goals a game. They're not always going to outscore, and you can't always rely upon Dostal. But I'm really impressed with what I've seen out of Jacob Trouba this year. This is maybe I don't even know what to say as far as how his play is. He's producing offensively. He's not out there taking those high risk, dangerous style hits in which we had seen him in the past get suspensions for. He's really taking that defense and made it his own. Beckett Seneca, one of those, Jackson Lacombe, they have really good defensive play as well. And then Chris Kreider also contributing. They have that veteran leadership. Ducks are going to be really good. Watch out for them. I said that in the beginning of this season. In the preview, I said they could be that sneaky team to get into the playoffs. And right now they're definitely looking like it. Yeah.
They've still got Vegas in the division. They've still got Edmonton in the division. The Kings are not that far behind them. So right. I do still have a very hard time seeing the Ducks, as you put it, maintaining this and sustaining this over the course of the entire season. But you stack these wins early, that makes March and April that much easier on you. You don't have to sweat so much.
Absolutely, because you think the injury bug is going to bite at some time, and you don't want to be already, struggling in the season and being out of a playoff picture. Hopefully something like that doesn't happen. I don't wish anything on anybody, but getting this early start builds that confidence. Like I said before, confidence, can take you a long way, and everybody's bought into Coach Q. I love what they're doing. One of the most exciting teams to watch. If you want to watch a good, fun hockey game, may not be the best executed as far as play goes, but up and down the ice, tune into a Ducks game because they are always exciting to watch.
I used this phrase the other night with the Blackhawks. It's a very immature game in that they're still figuring out how to play. Just how does this system work exactly? But they're getting there.
I think that's the style the league is going. I've seen it already this year, and you could see with the teams that are making those surprise starts with the Sharks and the Hawks and the Bruins, and teams that weren't that good last year are making that stride because they're playing that kind of reckless youth hockey, and I like it. I'm kind of tired of the sit back and play defense, win that 3-2 game every night, but give me the action, man.
I tell you what, it makes it fun to tune in on a nightly basis. Well, let's take a moment and pump the brakes for just a second. We're going to hear a quick word from our sponsors, and then we will be right back. A little bit more look in on a couple other teams. We've also got a little bit of college hockey to talk, and we're going to talk some PWHL. The Takeover Tour has been announced. The schedule for that, 16 Takeover Tour games this year in the PWHL. Lots of different spots there. Lots to get to yet here on the Neutral Zone. He is Freddie B. I am Adam Karnik. We will be right back after this. Do not go anywhere. IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
And welcome back into the Neutral Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Adam and Freddie back here with you. We went through a ton there in the opening half of the show. Man, we bounced around just a little bit.
Yeah. Sorry if I was a little bit off script. There's just so much, and I can tie everything into everything. It's really good.
No, it was flowing seamlessly. Love it. The transitions are fantastic. Well, we got a little bit more on the NHL tonight, and then we're going to move into a little bit of college hockey, and then we're also going to talk some women's hockey as well. Well, as we get back in here, let's start things off with the Utah Mammoth as they are in play here tonight. Little bit of a lull for Utah right now, not quite playing as well as they have been lately. A little bit of a rough stretch for the Mammoth to this point.
Yeah, they started out so hot. They were the top team in the league, and now they've lost 5 out of their last 6, trying to get that identity back, which kind of just went out the window very quickly. And they're already losing, 1-0 to Buffalo tonight right now as I just checked the scores. So, yeah, Utah, they're going to have their ups and downs, and they started the season great. They have a great, set of rosters, players, and with Cooley and, Schmaltz, and I can't even think of everybody right now, but no, Utah will turn it around. I think they're kind of like, like a fringe playoff team. And but it's kind of tough sledding right now for them, going 1-5 in their last 6.
Yeah, a little bit of a rough stretch there. One team, though, that has definitely not been having a rough time right now, the Boston Bruins. Ooh. They are playing incredibly well right now.
Yeah, Boston's looking really good. Winners of 7 in a row. They just beat the Maple Leafs again last night. That's twice in a week in which they've beaten an original 6 team in the Maple Leafs. And David Pastrnak getting his 400th career goal as well. Another milestone in this season, full of milestones already. I can't believe David Pasternak's got 400 career goals. That's incredible. I never thought I would see that out of him, but Yeah, man, he's a year and a half away. If he can get, that 40 goal average to getting 500, and that puts him in the conversation of Hall of Fame. But Boston is doing a fantastic job. They're just sitting. They played 2 more games in Montreal, but the same amount of points in 22. They're just percentage points lower than Montreal, and then right behind them is Ottawa. The 3 teams that we thought were going to be leading the Atlantic at the 20 game mark of the season are the Canadiens, Bruins, and Sens.
Yeah, they're we try to think we know what's going to happen, and then the teams just decide that no, we're going to pull a fast one on you. This is what we're going to do instead. And you know what? Okay, good on you. I'll always happily wear egg on my face on those things.
Yeah, Boston is a team that has the youth and that veteran combination as well. I knew they wouldn't be as bad as they were last year. That was an absolute fluke, in my opinion. And right now, their play on the ice is dictating that. And you talk about them playing, like Toronto, beating Toronto 2 out of 3 the other day, and Toronto can't do anything right now. So
now, when you play a team twice in a week like that, is it easier or harder? Would you rather space it out like, okay, we got to play them 5 times. Let's play them once a month. Or would you rather, no, boom, boom, boom. Let's just get it done and over with.
Yeah, they're going to play each other, I think, 2 more times before the season's over. But they're close in proximity, geographically wise. So it just fit the schedule that they were, played that home and home in a matter of like 5 days. But yeah, Toronto, they're struggling, man. If Buffalo wins tonight, does Buffalo jump them in points? No, it'd still be 1 point behind, but Toronto's just barely keeping their head above water almost, 17 points.
And Buffalo would only be a point behind and 1 less game played.
1 less game in hand too. And you have Austin Matthews. I didn't hear the extent of his injury, but he did get hurt in last night's game. He took a pretty bad hit, kind of went headfirst into the boards. Let's see if I can pull up anything as far as his injuries go. I think it just says, I think he's just day to day. He's not even on the injury report, but Anthony Stolarz is, who is their goalie. So more goalie problems.
More goalie problems in Toronto. More if you're not Austin Matthews, you're basically not doing anything. And even Austin Matthews is
William Nylander's having a nice season. He's up there amongst the league leaders in points.
That's true. That's very true. All apologies to William Nylander. He is having an excellent season. The Toronto Maple Leafs, though, as a whole, just cannot figure out. I mean, Canada right now, as a you've got in the Pacific Division, the bottom, not just Edmonton is struggling. The bottom 3 teams in the Pacific are Edmonton, Vancouver, and Calgary in the Pacific Division. Winnipeg is basically the only thing keeping the nation afloat right now. At 3rd in the Central, and we'll talk about them in just a second here. Montreal in the Atlantic, all right, but even there, you're sweating Boston. All of a sudden, you're now going, hey, wait a minute, guys, what's going on here? Toronto, you had the Blue Jays lose in epic fashion in the World Series, and now the Maple Leafs are just forgetting how to play hockey.
You talk about rough times up there right now. Those fans needed the Leafs to do something, start turning that around, or else they're going to burn that city down. I don't know how long before Craig Berube is on that hot seat. I think we mentioned it before. I understand that players are the ones held accountable. They really need to start playing better hockey, but it always comes down to the coach, in my opinion. And I don't know how long they'll continue to go with Craig Berube if this kind of hockey continues to be played by the Leafs.
Yeah, his seat is hot. It's if they don't turn it around. Well, all right, let's let's take a look real quick at the upcoming schedule for Toronto.
They play the Kings tomorrow, which is I'm
not
you got
good
the
for
best
Toronto.
road team. I'm looking forward to that game. I'm hoping the Kings continue to play that good road game that we've seen from them this year.
Yeah, they're hosting the Kings. They've got the Blue Jackets. They're Canadian. They play the Blue Jackets a couple of times this month. They've got the Canadians, the Capitals, the Penguins, the Panthers, the Hurricanes, the Canadians again in December. They're the Sharks. Does Berube make it to New Year's?
I was thinking the same thing.
You know,
on it. Okay, let's just say they go 500 in that span. That's 10 games? I think you read off there roughly.
And there were a couple games in between there that I jumped over just to try to get through the list.
So if they're close to the 30 game mark in the season and they're only sitting, at sub 30 points, that's concerning, because in that Eastern Conference right now, I think you're going to need to get into the mid upper 90s in order to make the playoffs. And if you're more than a third of the way through the season and you're still, 26 to 30 points, I don't know.
They have 21 games between now and the end of the calendar year.
Okay.
Their last game of the calendar year is December 30th. So they got 21 more games.
Toronto's going to need to play like 700 hockey to work their way through the division. Honestly, I mean, they can't be playing what they're doing right now, and maybe they're going to end up being sellers. I mean, John Tavares, he's another one of those guys I'd love to see do well. I've always been a big fan of his, and he's one of the guys that's still having a really good season up there for them. But man, it's tough sledding right now.
I go back to the way I felt about them at the end of last season. I felt like this past offseason was where the Maple Leafs needed to sell, where it was, hey, we got to tear this down a little bit, take a couple steps back so that we can push forward, because it just isn't working. And now the start that they're having to this season, we've brought it up previously on the show. This feels like it is a disaster in Toronto for the Leafs.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a Leafs fan. I do like to. I mean, they haven't won a cup since '67, so I always like to see that continue. But man, I don't know. Austin Matthews, they just signed to the extension last year. We thought he was going to become a free agent. I know he liked being on the West Coast, being from Arizona, liked LA. Thought maybe we could bring him in. Maybe we could still bring him in, but it would be like via trade. If they're willing to accept a trade, I would throw in like a Quentin Byfield or some of our youth to bring Austin Matthews back. I'd love that.
This is gonna have to be a much longer form topic. It's way more than we have time for yet tonight. But I think if you're gonna move Matthews, I think you're gonna have to get a third team involved to help with salary at that point.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to be through somebody so that you can
Right.
make the money work. This would be where a team like this used to be why Arizona still existed, which they could be used for the bank, the bank for everybody.
Absolutely.
The cap space relief for everybody, for their injured and bad players, for orchestrating trades. But I think if Austin Matthews gets moved, you're going to have to involve a third team to help make the money palatable to everybody, because otherwise, that's a lot. That's a lot of money you got to take on for a competing team. There aren't a lot of
team, maybe like Dallas. I think Dallas has assets that they can move, or a team like the Ducks. We've seen what they're doing in their farm system already, in the youth movement they had. Shoot, can you imagine if the Ducks make an offer for? I would hate that. That would kill me to see the Ducks do something like that and bring Austin Matthews in. But hey, never rule it out.
it's just bad that it's November and we're able to have
I
conversations
know.
like this, and it's not totally out of line.
No, but yeah. I'm doing video game GM right now. That's what it is.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, it's more fun. It's more fun.
Of course it is.
To do it that way. Well, one more on the NHL here. We brought up Canada. The Winnipeg Jets are overall having a good season, but my goodness, they cannot wait to get the plane and just get out of California. How quickly can they get out of California? That's what they're saying now with the Winnipeg Jets right now.
Yeah,
a rough
really
stretch.
rough. They got swept by the California teams, and I mean, losing to the Sharks, Kings shut them out, and then Anaheim kicked their butts. So they did pull out a win last night. They did play Vancouver. They got the 5-3 win last night up in Vancouver. But yeah, I didn't expect. I don't know what to think about Winnipeg. Sometimes they look like they could be that elite team, and they started the year kind of like that, and then they have these stretches where they don't look very good at all. That's a division, you got Dallas and Colorado who are already right up there again at the top. And I don't know. What do you think about the Jets, Adam?
For me, it's always with the Jets. It's where is the offense coming from? You've got one of the great goaltenders in Hellebuck until you get to the postseason. And that's a different conversation, and we'll have that. But you look at those 3 games that they played at LA, at San Jose, at Anaheim. They scored 2 goals.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's really hard to come away with points out of, it's really hard to come away with points when you're only scoring once a night. You've got to light the lamp more than that.
You can't just rely upon Scheifele and Connor to do all the scoring for you. They did get some goal. I think they got a goal last night from Alex Iafallo. So they need, and Gabe Velarde, I think, also had a goal as well. So if those guys just need to start stepping up, and Winnipeg's still a dangerous team. You don't want to be playing up in a whiteout in Winnipeg in late April right there. That place is a zoo. Manitoba goes crazy for their hockey club. But yeah, Winnipeg, I think they'll be just fine. Just a real rough stretch, and they got it out of the way early. They do, I think, make another trip later on, but this was not one to be remembered.
I did see that, and this is a couple weeks ago, I did see that Jonathan Taves got his first goal this season. And that felt good. That warmed my heart a bit. If they need depth scoring, it's way too easy right now for the good teams, the good defensive teams, to simply shut down the top line and suddenly, oh, hey, Winnipeg, you don't have to worry about them. If somebody like Taves or some of the other depth on the team can start, you don't necessarily need somebody that's going to be scoring 30, 40 goals.
No,
you just need somebody that can score a dozen, 15,
a guy like
goals.
A guy like Nino Niederreiter, who's had a really good career in the league. He's kind of gone quiet, it seems like. But the Winnipeg does have that really good defense. Josh Morrissey and Neil Pionk and guys they got on the back end. They'll be okay. They're going to get that scoring. I think they got that road trip out of the way. They're heading back home. So we'll see where Winnipeg is at in a week from now. They're sitting third right now in the division.
That sounds right. I've had it. Yes, they are still third. They are a point in front of the Blackhawks. They are 3 points behind the Stars. They do have a game in hand on both the Stars and the Avalanche, 7 points behind the Avalanche. So
Hawks, man, right above the Hawks. Man, Tyler Bertuzzi, shoot, what a week he had.
What right there? Yeah, the Hawks hanging out right there. I'm loving it for the Hawks. Keep banking those wins. Keep those opportunities coming. It's looking great. It's doing all the things you want. They're coming together. Now they just got to get healthy. Frank Nazar's out tonight.
Right.
They got to get healthy a little bit, but hey, it's
Spencer Knight's getting tested. Yeah, he's getting tested every night, but he's holding his end of the bargain up, and he is making those big stops when they need it. And Connor Bedard has just, taken things to a whole new level now. And then, like I said, Tyler Bertuzzi has a hat trick, and then I think he had 2 goals the following day, like 5 goals in a 2-game span for Bertuzzi. I think he has like 8 goals on the season already, and really good to see him go. I like that Chicago team. They're just like the Ducks and the Sharks, and man, they're just fun to watch. And the youth is finally number 1 draft picks. There's a reason why they get selected as a number 1 pick, and these guys are finally living up to the status in which they were drafted.
Yes. Speaking of youth too, speaking of a youth movement, let's dive into the college realm real quick.
Oh yeah.
Sparty at number 1 overall. My goodness. The Michigan State Spartans, that hockey club is doing things.
Yeah, Michigan State is looking fantastic right now. Another sweep last week as well. I think they garnered all like 50 first place votes in the rankings this week as well. Looking really good. There's a couple of really good teams that I've seen so far. Minnesota Duluth being another big surprise right now as well. I like what I'm seeing out of them. Michigan, they kind of took a falling back. A bad incident in the Michigan game last night. I don't know, or not last night, but I think it was last week. I don't know if you saw that or not, but a player took a pretty big run at another guy. But Michigan State, shutting out Penn State 5-0, and then beating them the night before as well. That's huge. And
that is massive. And you are correct. Not only are the Spartans the number 1 team, they did get every single first place vote. So Michigan State number 1, Michigan number 2, Western Michigan, though the defending champs, falling all the way down to 9.
Yeah,
they are
500.
5-5 on the season. Yeah, the rough couple of weeks for the Broncos, but Michigan State taking over the hockey world right now in college.
Yeah, and like I said, Minnesota Duluth, and then the University of Denver moving their way from 9 to 4. Wisconsin also making a leap from 10 to 7 in this week's rankings as well. But I was just looking at like the league leaders and goals, and you have Will Horkoff, who is a Penguins prospect. He is the son of former Oilers Sean Horkoff, and he's leading the country right now in goals with 11. And 3 Penguins players are amongst the league leaders right now in goals, with Zach Plant on there as well, and Cruz Lucius. Those are guys all at the University of Michigan right now. Really good stuff from what I'm seeing, this youth. And then you've got, McKenna, he's up there as well. JJ Weisbush having a really strong season. He also has 11 goals. We're seeing a lot of these guys. I'm looking at Max Plant, a Red Wings prospect at 22 points, Zach at 19. A lot of good stuff in college hockey, and every week there seems to be a good game. I haven't looked at the schedule so far. Who's the matchup here?
The one this weekend. So Penn State had Sparty last week. Now they get to turn around and play number 2 Michigan this week. Ooh. Michigan versus Penn State this week. If you're Penn State, you can't get swept again. You've got to take. No. You've got to take one of these against Michigan. If you get swept back-to-back weekends by Michigan State and then Michigan, that could be a big nosedive for Penn State.
That definitely could be. And nothing's easy for Michigan State this week either. They're traveling to Notre Dame. Notre Dame's not as good of a hockey club as they have been in previous years, but playing against the Golden Domers, is always a tough challenge, especially a road. And everybody's going to look up to beat the number 1 team in the country. So I expect a couple of really good matchups this week. Have you watched any of the games yet, Adam?
This season I haven't been able to catch anything live. I've been watching
Right.
the
Okay.
replays and coming back that way, but some
Yeah.
good stuff overall from people. And the Joyce Center there at Notre Dame, that is not an easy place if you are a visiting road team to come into. I've been able to catch a game there at Notre Dame and have some friends and coworkers that have gone there for games. That is not an easy place to be the road team to come in and win at.
So I'd really like to see how Michigan State handles that, and if they could at least come away with a split. There in Notre Dame, but yeah, a lot of good hockey still to be played. This is a fantastic season, and it's correlating perfectly with what we're seeing in the NHL right now. The college hockey is taking things to the development of these guys. I think a lot more players are going to start coming in and playing college hockey that we've seen in the past, and not going the way of, like the junior level, maybe just going straight into playing college hockey. We're seeing some phenomenal players, and a lot of these guys are going to be top draft picks.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely that we are there. There's some great stuff going on there. And yeah, guys that are going to be able to come in and kind of compete right away at a very early time.
That's what the Kings had always, in the past, they had always had these guys that they had brought in that were signed out of college. And they always had that extra year or two of experience, which really translated and made them ready to play at the NHL level. Maybe a year in the AHL, but they were almost ready to play at that NHL level. So yeah, college hockey is starting to groom these guys into being future stars.
Absolutely they are. All right, one last bit here that we're gonna kind of change gears one last time here before we call it a show. The PWHL, the Women's Hockey League, set to drop the puck on the regular season here in just a few days. The regular season will be getting underway here. For games begin on the 21st. But one thing that we did get news on, first of all, we've got nicknames and logos for the two newest teams, Seattle and Vancouver. I want to get your opinion on these: the Seattle Torrent and then the Vancouver Golden Eyes.
The Vancouver Golden Eyes. I don't know where that one came from. I don't know the backstory of how you get the name Golden Eyes.
All right, but I will give you that because they gave the Vancouver, okay, they gave a little bit of that on the website.
Oh, cool.
Being a James Bond fan at heart,
okay,
and also a child of the 90s.
Yeah.
Golden, there's so many triggers right there that just warmed my heart.
I thought we were talking about N64 again.
Exactly. That's right where I went. So my sister lives in Seattle, and she's going to be going to the first Torrent.
Oh, that's rad. Good for her.
Game. She was able to get tickets, and so we were texting when the names got announced, and I was excited for her with the name, and we both kind of liked it. We're digging it, and then I saw the Vancouver one, and I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, they win this round."
I like that. Something about that logo and just the name, the Golden Eye. That got me right away. The Torrent's cool. It just fits, that Seattle theme, that same kind of, color scheme of like the turquoise and greens and stuff like that of Pacific Northwest, like the Mariners and the Kraken and the Seahawks.
Yes, exactly. So what we've got for the Golden Eyes, a bold golden eye sits at the heart of the design, an iconic reference to their name, symbolizing vision, clarity, and focus. And then also the golden eye is a bird native to the area.
Okay.
Speed and agility, the swift movement of the common golden eye, the wings encircling the center figure speak to our speed, precision, and dynamic spirit. The curved line of the logo represent the natural meeting point of land and ocean. Their geography gets represented there, And then the image of a diving bird captures our collective momentum. So that
wow, that's quite the explanation of how they came up with it.
The marketing department obviously hard at work there on some of that, but
that's great.
The logo is super sharp. It instantly catches you. It grabs you.
I love it.
It's a bird's eye, literally. And the Vancouver, the Golden Eyes, they are the first PWHL team that will be the primary tenant at their home ice. So they have their logo,
own identity, their logo.
Yeah. Ice, which is going to be awesome.
That's awesome. Now
the
the question is, Adam, are the Golden Eye going to win a championship before the Canucks?
I'll
put money on it right now that the Golden Eye win a championship before the Vancouver Canucks ever win a Stanley Cup.
Take
that to the bank.
There's a good one. There's a discussion for once the season gets a little bit more underway. Let's cycle that one away and remember to come back to it once the PWHL season gets a little bit underway here. But the last bit for the PWHL also, of course, the big thing they've been doing in each of their seasons so far is what they call the Takeover Tour, where they play a bunch of neutral ice games that are in various cities where they don't already have a team. They played some games in Denver last year that were played to massive crowds. They played in Seattle and got big crowds. They've played in British Columbia previously. Well, this year they have got 16 neutral site games going on in the PWHL, 11 different locations that are going to be used both in the United States and in Canada. So multiple locations are going to host multiple games. The complete list of cities, you've got Halifax, you've got Chicago, you've got Edmonton, Dallas, Hamilton, Detroit, Quebec City. That's a massive one.
Yeah.
DC, Denver is once again going to be hosting. Winnipeg and Calgary is going to be hosting a takeover game. The complete schedule by city: Halifax hosts their first one Wednesday, December 17th. That'll be between Montreal and New York. Then January 11th, they have Ottawa taking on Boston. Chicago gets 2. I have already circled both of these on my calendar.
Got to take the kids to that one.
I'm figuring out how to get all the puzzle pieces to line up.
Yeah.
Sunday, December 21st, the Charge will play the defending champion Minnesota Frost. And then on Wednesday, March 25th, New York takes on Seattle. In Chicago, Edmonton is hosting 2 games, Minnesota versus Vancouver on Saturday, December 27th, and Boston versus Vancouver. So Vancouver playing twice in Edmonton, relatively close distance there.
Yeah.
Tuesday, April 7th, the second one there. In Dallas, so going down south, the Torrent will be taking on the Sirens 3 days after Christmas, Sunday, the 28th of December. Hamilton, you have Seattle versus New York on January 3rd. Detroit has 2 games. They had a game last year. Saturday, January 3rd will be Vancouver versus Boston. And then March 28th, New York versus Montreal. Quebec City has 1 that'll feature, it's an all Canada game, Vancouver versus Montreal, Sunday, January 11th. Washington, D.C. will host Montreal and New York on Sunday, January 18th. Denver gets 2 this year. It'll be the Golden Eyes versus the Torrent. So the 2 newest teams will go to Denver on January 25th. New York will take on Minnesota, also in Denver, on March 15th. Winnipeg has one, Montreal versus Ottawa, Sunday, March 22nd. And then Calgary has New York versus Ottawa on April Fool's Day. The other thing that I like about what they've done this year, so my personal gripe with it a year ago, I looked at trying to go to the Detroit game. The trouble for us was it was a Sunday night, and it was boy, I feel bad about taking my daughter out of school the next day because we went to a hockey game the night before. That just feels like bad parenting. There's a great mix this year of some of the games are weeknights, but a lot of them are weekends. So
that's
you've got a mix there, and some of them are during the day, some of them are at night. So you've got opportunities, and the cities that are hosting multiple, they're not always at the same start time. So it's, if this was too early for you, here's a little later, so that you can try to make it as accessible as possible for as many people to come to these.
What I like too is that, like, say, like, you're talking about the games in Detroit, you've got Vancouver and Boston in one game, and then you get New York and Montreal in another one. So you get to see two different games, 4 total teams playing, and every game is being played at the main, NHL arenas. We're not playing in some, smaller arenas
not all of them are going to be in the main NHL arenas. For Chicago, for example, they're going to be using
All-State Arena.
They're going to be using All-State Arena, not United Center. But that's still. That United Center's a barn. That's one of the biggest NHL ones. I don't mean that to come off as like, they couldn't fill United Center.
No,
it's hard to fill United Center though. All-State Arena is a fantastic venue. It's easy to get to. It's right off of O'Hare. It's very easy to get to.
Yeah, so I'm going to look into see
not all the NHL ones, but a lot of NHL ones are getting used.
And that's something we need to look into is, as these games are being played on this tour, is look at the attendance. Start going in the box scores and looking to see what kind of attendance that they're getting in these newer markets that they may, potentially be expanding the league over the next couple of years. We talked about it before that they are looking to expand. And I think this kind of started like when the U.S. and Canada women's put that tour on, when they were touring all over the country. They did it again this year. I think they played like a 7-game series all over the place last year. And that's really cool. And I think now that you're incorporating the Professional Women's Hockey League to doing the same thing, it's just not like the Harlem Globetrotters going around doing a world tour. These are, league games. These are not exhibition games. These are league games during the middle of the season. So you're going to see exactly what it is like watching these women play meaningful hockey games. And I can't wait to see what the numbers are. And where can you tune in to find the games television wise?
They still make everything available on YouTube. They do have over the air as well. If you're in Canada, TSN does broadcast some games. Here in the States, some of the teams have individual setups with some of the markets. I believe SNY does some games, and then some of the New York games in the area as well. But you can PWHL, follow them on YouTube. They make all their games available there as well. So you don't have to, and it's not YouTube TV. It's
actual YouTube. So you can watch for free. So this is a free,
watch for free. Exactly.
These games you can watch for free here. And it looks like Edmonton just won in overtime, beating the Flyers 2-1. So that's back-to-back overtime wins, or big wins for the Oilers. They're going to get that ball rolling again here soon. But the question still remains for the Oilers is goal.
Yes.
Stuart Skinner is still your goalie, unfortunately. But they're starting to win games. McDavid is putting pucks in the back of the net. They could be scary if they can get hot.
McDavid's just got some times where he's just like, damn it, I'm scoring. You cannot just get out of my way. I'm scoring.
Yeah, it looks like Bull Duke scored the game winner there. So Edmonton wins 2-1. How are we looking on your Blackhawks?
Oh, I'm scared to look.
Are you TiVoing it so you don't get spoiled?
No. I'll just be going upstairs and just picking up from right where it is. So there's no sense in that. No sense in that. So they're actually at 0-0 still at this point. Some good stuff right now. Neither the Hawks 0-for-1 on a power play. Puck possession is definitely going New Jersey's direction in the early start, getting outshot 10-7 at this point are the Hawks. So the Devils definitely being the ones early. Spencer Knight, though, up to the task with 10 saves and 10 opportunities. Yeah. So you like that from a Blackhawks perspective. So
hey, we were talking about Utah's struggles. They're down 2-0 right now to Buffalo. Isaac Rosen with both goals for the Sabres.
We could be looking at a natural hat trick. So not only is Isaac Rosen on hat trick alert already, not even halfway into the game, we could be looking at a natural hattie here for Rosen tonight. Good on him.
Fantastic.
The Rangers, they got another win. Not a huge surprise. 7-3 over the Lightning. When it was 6-3, you kind of figured something was going to be going there. And then you just brought up the Oilers winning it 2-1 in overtime. We went a little overtime tonight too, but you know what? That's okay. We were having fun. We were on a roll. We hope you were enjoying it. It seemed like everybody was being entertained by it. Thank you to everybody that tuned in here tonight. We want to
thank you all.
Thank you. This is huge. We especially want to thank our sponsors, Vital Apparel, the brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. When you go to vitalapparel.com, use the promo code IESR to get 15% off of their comfortable and inspiring gym wear. Also, thank you to Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky.
So good. I love that stuff. I order it all the time now.
That is the jerky that's on a whole other planet. Go to planetjerky.net to place your order. You can follow them also on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Be sure to follow IE Sports Radio on the social media platforms, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube at IE Sports Radio. Thank you to Larry B., the czar and overlord of all things IE Sports Radio, for giving us the fresh facelift of the background there, and for all the other hard work you do behind the scenes, sir. It does not go unnoticed, nor is it unappreciated. Thank you to everybody that was hanging out in the chat room with us tonight. Larry B., Jess. I saw a fight on Twitter. He saw a fight tonight at 6:07.
WTF Sports Writer also joining us on YouTube today. I love it.
Raceless Podcast. Thank you, sir. Thank you for tuning in. Larry B. for tuning in on us tonight. Thank you to all 650 viewers we have on tonight's show. Absolutely love it. Thank you so very, very much. This is this crazy thing we do call the Neutral Zone. We do it every Wednesday night, unless one of us is having their face, refit. For IE Sports Radio, he is Freddie B. I am Adam Karnik. We do this crazy thing every Wednesday night, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock in the West. Until next week, be good. Stay out of the penalty box. Be sure to light that lamp. We will see you next week. Have a great one, everybody.